Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back for this penultimate match. We're going to be in the finals here watching Walk It Off face off against the biggest surprises this week in EU, Heroes and Zeros. And let me tell you, I don't think there's many Zeros on this team this week after.
Not at all. We already talked about Vastrical, and El Sato already showed us just how strong he can be in that support role. So Heroes and Zeros have really come out with a vengeance and walking off another surprise. So we sat here today, Hindu Man, about 3, 4, 5 hours ago. I don't know. The beginning of our broadcast, we talked about how we weren't going to see too many upsets and too many surprises, that all of our surprises have already happened. And due to the fact of who was here in our tournament, we should see very predictable results. Well, we were wrong.
Welcome to EU. Welcome to
EU is right.
But we're into this one now, and it's Walk It Off have banned out Kumbhakarna. Now, the thing about Kumbhakarna here, we've not seen him banned that much this tournament. We've not seen him picked that much this tournament either. So this must be some sort of tactic Walk It Off have on paper here going into this one. They have some sort of idea of banning away Kumbha. I guess maybe they go for an Athena ban as well and try and throw Heroes and Zeros off the game a bit, maybe? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. Osiris, as you said, going to be banned as well. Walking off, we took a look at their players. You know, Fexes looked to be one of the more powerful players making up that team, but hi-rez are also bringing the noise. So the Osiris ban is definitely big, as is the Mercury. So they're just, Heroes and Zeros tend to sort of have their eyes on the jungle position, whereas Walking Off, going for a Habwa and a Kumbhakarna ban, a little more well-rounded, and they opt to take Ram for first pick.
Aphrodite gets through.
Athena.
And we've not seen it picked up yet. Athena's been locked in. Heroes and Zeros going to consider Aphrodite hit. No, they're going to go for Thor. And I'm surprised we've not seen Aphrodite picked up here at all yet. Like this, one of the reasons we've not seen her, we don't see her that much anymore, is because she provides great sustain for the team, allows for continued sieges and the undying love as well. I've thought she got 3 picks and bans. She's got 3 bans here, and so far she's not been picked up. I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah, very curious that we don't see an Aphrodite. Geb has not been locked in just yet, just hovered over. So I wouldn't be surprised walking off talking about it just about now. They do have a couple more seconds. They're going to lock in the Geb right here. So good for walking off. Still no Aphrodite pick. Heroes and Zeros have one more pick before counterban phase. Wonder if they'll go for the Afro in the solo lane.
We'll see. I mean, with the bands coming out again, we might see a band away this time round. But with Raw being locked in here by Heroes and Zeros, that says to me that they're looking for a safe lane in one of the two. Maybe that'll be mid, maybe it will be in the solo. We'll find out. And now we're into the banning stages once again, and Agilitas's turn to ban. Who would you look at banning in this situation?
If we take a look at Heroes and Zeros and who they want to ban, they have an Athena, Thor, and Ra. And Walking Off has Ram, Geb, and Agni. Walking Off should be looking to ban a Hunter, whereas Heroes and Zeros should be looking to ban a solo laner. And that's exactly what happens. Heroes and Zeros goes ahead and bans out the ZK, and Walking Off goes ahead and bans out the Artemis. Zhang Kui has been getting a little more attention lately, both picks and bans, and nothing has happened to the character. Why do you think that is?
I mean, EU overall, EU has been a big fan of Zhang Kui. When that change happened, the most recent change to him, he came back on the scene strong in EU. Then faded again a little bit due to changes to certain gods and things like that. But then he's back once more, and people are starting to realize we saw Solano playing it earlier on. So Solana, I got his name wrong, for Walk It Off. And you saw the influence he made in those team fights when he turned up late and just cleaned up with ghosts. So makes sense that they don't want to have to deal with that in the lane. So
very true.
It's good to see, it's good to see like Zhang's back in the meta, but he's not full force, He's not insta-pick, insta-ban. It means that, hi-rez's balance team kind of stepping forward here and showing, that they've found a good sweet spot for him. But there is an Aphrodite lock-in, and finally, we're going to see that one go through.
And Fenrir going to be picked up for Walk It Off. A shout to the team that they took down. Agilitas is Zinder and famous for his Fenrir play. And Walking Off is just going to go ahead and play Fenrir. Fenrir recently getting a buff, as we see Loki thought about by Heroes and Zeros. Fenrir's steroid, the number 2, has been buffed. So Fenrir should get extra lifesteal and power, which is the more important aspect of that. And Fenrir has been a curious pick, a very niche pick by certain players, i.e. Zindern from Europe, and Wolfie plays him a little bit as well, but that's about it. So
we saw some support Fenrir as well, but he's definitely going to be a jungle one this time around anyway with Geb on the field. But, you can, unless we're going to see a Geb jungle, I'd like to see that. That would be a very slow slow, relaxing paced game. No,
I don't have time to roll along with that. Sorry.
Oh, I see what you did there. Roll along, roll out. Yeah, I get it. Cool. Anyway, we're going to go into this one, guys. It's going to be Walking Off versus Heroes and Zeros. And it's going to be interesting to see because Aphrodite gets who picks and finally gets picked at position 7. Kind of crazy, guys. We'll be right back with the final, though, as soon as these guys have loaded in. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. This is the final of the first week of the EU play-ins. Walk It Off, formerly known as Bloody Tech, going to be facing off against Heroes and Zeros. We'll let you know who's playing what and what positions they're going to be playing in on the left-hand side of your screen, of the spectator UI, rather. Starting from the bottom side of the map, we're going to see Clueless Frezzy playing Geb in the support role. Clueless Moex is going to be playing Rom as the Hunter. Solana is going to be in the solo lane as Aphrodite. hi-rez in the jungle as Fenrir, and finally Fexes as Agony in mid. And what have we got from Heroes and Zeros after?
In the red trunks, we're going to see Arnie King playing that Ra. Going to head towards the solo lane with Thor, his jungler, played by Darzer. We're going to see Enigma on Ao Kwang in the middle lane with Vatrical and El Seto making up that duo lane on Apollo and Athena.
Oh, I love these early wards from Heroes and Zeros. Look at this on the right-hand side. They positioned it for the early invade because they saw Walk It Off do it against Agilitas last round. So they're like, yeah, let's not have that happen to us. Let's just put some early wards down. Make sure they can't go for this late invade. Nice call from them.
Making sure that they're not going to get picked up like they watched Agilitas get picked up. Walk It Off had God with a 5-man group, old denial strategy, and got an easy first blood once upon a time. Heroes and Zeros not wanting to be on the receiving end of that. Just going to play it safe and pick up mids.
But this is why I love the pro scene coming into effect sooner rather than later for Smite F-Dot, because these teams are going to be playing each other week in, week out pretty much. They're going to be able to strategize against them, know their strengths, know their weaknesses, and focus on their plays of what they're going to be looking to do. So as time goes on, you're going to see some more intricate plays, some interesting ideas forming from these teams as they try and deal with the teams that are technically maybe mechanically better than them, but they're better at the team communication. Left hand side, a lot of aggression on Athena.
Good hits coming out from Moex. Got the additional damage and cripple that comes out after you use the roll. Of course, the way Rom worked, after his combat roll, he gets one shot to get a cripple and extra damage, and he nailed it. So El Seto hitting about 50% HP. Frezzy dipping into the jungle. Probably just going to come back into lane, but it's fun to keep the enemy on their toes.
Right-hand side, you're going to see Rafa being that jungle friend Rear and Solana linking up for the most part, but now Rafa's decided to go aggressive and look for a bit of a counter jungle opportunity here, but Darzer very aware that he's missing. Where's he going to be heading to? Are they going to switch sides and start farming each other's jungle? No, Darzer's going to go for mid, looking for pressure on Fexes, but a ward's going to reveal his placement here. Fexes is going to play this safe, and Rafa's going to find himself some free experience. Good wall out.
Walled out means the dash doesn't do as well as it could, but it does get him safely out anyway. 75 HP on Fex. Is going to take a little bit of poke from this minion wave so he gets the gold from it, but he's going to lose a mids to Heroes and Zeros to go ahead and pick up left-hand camp, which was alive for way too long, and they're going to keep pressure into their own jungle as 3 members of Walk It Off are here at their damage camp.
But the Ale Kwang Tornado is going to do some good damage, and Rafa's getting very low. The spin to win from Dawes is good, and he jukes out just in time, jumping to his hammer. Nothing more comes of it, although a bit of counter jungling, like you said, paid off for Rafa there. But Dawes did pick up the mid camp. That one little harpy was left in the middle from the initial start, and so that gave him a little bit of an advantage. And they're going back in for the speed once more, so they're red once more. Changing their mind, though, when they see everyone's still there.
Gonna play it safe, gonna finally back out. Don't want to go that deep again, as they saw the type of response that Walk It Off gave them, that Heroes and Zeros gave them, but Walk It Off instead opts to go towards their own jungle. hi-rez are gonna clear his speed buff, while Frezzy heads back into the dual lane with that rollout.
Yeah, heads back in just to give him some cover, both level 4 in that duo lane. In the meantime, though, Solana's a little bit behind in terms of experience. Should hit level 4 after that minion wave, though. And you can see Enigma rotating over to Darzer in the jungle there to make sure he picks up that red buff, gets some extra experience as Fexes continues to push in mid.
Right camp's about to spawn, so teams should be getting around that location. At the moment, nobody really in the area. 2 members of Heroes and Zeros in the middle lane. Here comes El Seto, so that'll be confirmation for this right-hand camp. Not enough members of Walk It Off around here, and they're waiting on the wrong timer.
Oh, no, they are.
They're waiting on the wrong timer.
I don't think it was intentional from Heroes and Zeros to throw off the left camp, but he's paid off for them. Because you just saw Frezzy pop his skill trying to do the knock up and get aggro, and they're still wasting time here overall. Meanwhile, Heroes and Zeros took the camp they needed, got the level of advantage. Darza takes a lot of poke from Fexes in the middle. He's gone very aggressive on his own. He's not really got any backup here just yet. But Raph is still in the area, and they're still waiting for this mid camp.
Mid camp's not going to spawn for about a minute, folks. It's going to be a minute on this camp, and this is actually going to be really, really bad for Frezzy. I'll say though, so for those of you that don't know how the camp timers work, we at home at the spectator client can see the timer, and the people that watch the camp die can see the timer. So Heroes and Zeros are well aware that this mid camp isn't spawning anytime soon. Walk it off, assuming that H&Z got the camp when it was supposed to, quote unquote, be killed. Sitting here waiting for a full minute. That's going to take Frezzy out of a minute's worth of farm, and it's going to put him back about a level and a half behind his enemy support.
But now they're going to invade the speed buff because they know that timer was begun on time, so they're waiting for it to spawn any second. Frezzy's in position, only level 4 though. He would have been level 5 if he got that mid camp, and they're going to go aggressive here. Rafa trying to zone out Darza as he try and burst this one down. And who does that go to overall? Well, it looks like it did go over to walk it off as Darza's aggressing again. A lot of damage coming out as Fexes backs off with the Athena ult coming into play, but a big Tempest Storm not going to connect, and now we're going to see Alesto go down there overall for Rafa, bringing the doggy over to his team.
Rafa going to get hit by a lot of damage coming out from Thor, and Arnikin gets the kill credit for that one. So it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Jungle for support. Thor wants to make something happen.
Gonna find Fexes.
About being defensive, and there he goes back on home. Frezzy gets to launch back on Enigma, but he's all by himself. Not much alone. Level 4 Geb can do. All in all, I'd say that one goes to Heroes and Zeros. They killed the jungler in exchange for their support that's already ahead.
I mean, the speed buff did go up. They did lose the speed buff as well. They get the left hand camp. So Heroes and Zeros, I mean, yeah, you're right. I do agree. It did go in their favor overall. So it's 1-to-1 gold and experience right now. Small leading gold for Walk It Off and experience ever so slightly. But, you know, at 6 minutes in the game, that's pretty much nothing. It's like one jungle camp pretty much that, F-Dot.
Just about. hi-rez goes ahead, picks up his red buff. Gonna wake his way towards his jungle. Full wave of minions onto this middle tower rather, but Fex is able to clear it no problem at all. And a return to passivity as both teams at the 6-minute mark try to farm up. We generally have a tie game right here.
Both of the hunters rather going to be going for the double stacking item. We can see already that Moex has gone back and bought the starting of his Devourer's Gauntlets. Meanwhile, Vastrikel still in lane with his Heartseeker. Will probably go back soon when he can to try and make sure he can start stacking his Gauntlets too, get a bit more lifesteal online for himself. And we'll see those start to wreak havoc as this game goes on with those double stackers. Meanwhile, Darza in mid puts a wall down looking for Fexes. Not going to find it overall, and actually takes a firebomb to the face for his trouble.
Yeah, stun misses, so Vex is going to get him with that. Going to miss the Flame Wave. These right-hand mids going to be contested by Frezzy, but there's 2.5 members of H&Z right here. Here comes a third. Vastrical in the middle lane as the Hunter. Those are undoubtedly going to Heroes and Zeros, and they're going to pick that up with 5 members in the middle lane. They could make something happen. Walking off only has 2.
I mean, both the supports are starting to fall behind quite considerably in this game when you look at it as well. And also, Dars is only level 6 on Thor with his speed buff being taken away. That's caused an issue. Left-hand side, though, Moex in a bit of trouble. Going to roll towards Darza, though, who's the one that's in real problems. And he's going to go to the sky. Is Moex finds 2 snipes. He's going to find the third. He is! And Rafa secures the kill. Big pickup for Walk It Off. And they might find more in the terms of Athena.
hi-rez goes ahead and picks that up. That's a double kill. You know, Thor would have been out of there no problem if he just kept walking forward. But by using that ultimate, he stands still, makes himself a sitting duck for the Ram ult to go ahead and nail the almost killing blow. Here comes Gold Fury, but Basher goes in the air, gets the land. The knockup is good. Walk It Off does walk away with the Gold Fury, but they might trade their lives for it. hi-rez on the other hand turns it the other way, gets a kill while Vastrical takes down Solana. Moex takes down Vastrical, and hi-rez gets another kill. So all in all, Walk It Off takes away with the Gold Fury and only loses a single member of their team for 3 on the way of Heroes and Zeros. They now lead the game 3,100 gold.
I mean, technically, the only two alive for Heroes and Zeros are the two that died early, so it was a very delayed deicide in favor of Walk It Off there. They picked up a lot of kills for that one and got themselves a great lead at the start of this one. And the rotation coming out of Solana from the solo lane on that Aphrodite after we said what she can do in team fights overall. She allowed her team to survive and sustain a little bit longer, and that Undying Love paid dividends. Vastrakel did find one kill, but he did pay for his life as well, and that's going to really help him out. Vastrakel, though, actually, he's not going for the double stacking item this game. He's actually gone for the Draining Blade. Is this the old sort of build with the RC start here?
This is this is a throwback to the old build you mentioned. You know, we saw Vastrakel experimenting a little bit with builds earlier in the tournament. This time, I'm going to go with the Heartseeker. Still a very good pickup. Going Aussie. Probably will build full Aussie, I would say. Draining Blade used to be a very strong item at only 1,035 gold. hi-rez since adjusted it, and now not that strong. So I think he'll go for the full Aussie. Very cheap item. About 1,800 gold.
Cheap item, but what's it going to do in terms of damage? Because Moex is going to be having that Devourer's Gauntlet online now, as Moex finds a solo kill on Vastrakel and is paying dividends with him with those stacking items. Meanwhile, Speedbuff taken away yet again from Darza in his own jungle, and now it looks like Arnking could be caught out of position here as he goes aggressive on the backside. Rafa going to look to pick himself up a noodle and find it. No, he did.
Door lands, gets the stun onto Darza. He's stunned out of his Berserker's Barrage. Rafa linked to the Aphrodite, waiting for the heal to take effect so he can jump on back in. Well, in the back, Fexes duels the door, and he takes down Darzer.
And now we're going to look at
a lot of damage from the Rafa. That is the Wolf, and he should go down just a matter of minutes as long as they can catch up to El Seto.
El Seto does go down there as well, 10-2 in favor of Walk It Off, and Walk It Off looking great in this game right now. Gonna rotate to the mid camps as well, put pressure onto the solo lane. Look at Vexes in middle. He left so early from that fight, knowing it was secured. He put pressure on the middle side while all this was going on. Moex managed to pick up the Apollo, which we saw earlier, and on top of that, bring down the tier 1 tower. So right now, Walk It Off in full control and looking for the back camps in the enemy jungle.
Lots of victories coming out for Walk It Off right now. 10 minutes in, and they're already leading the map by about 5,700. I think that 5,800 gold. Ooh. Just underneath by about literally 6 gold, folks. So Walk It Off looking very strong. 10-2 in the kills as well. Big lead for the Walk It Off crew.
Look at the junglers right now, Efta. You've got Darza level 7, 4,500 gold, 0 and 2. Meanwhile, Rafa level 11, a 4-level difference, 6, 1 and 2, and the highest gold in the game right now, 6,700. He's big as Moex goes to the sky. Can he find another snipe? Needs one more. Not going to find it. The jukes were good, but Fexer still cleans it up anyway. And now Enigma's going to drop as Darza goes down again in middle lane to Rafa from thanks to the dive. It looks like a Brutalize was used. And now the team of Walk It Off, realizing how big the RF are going to push on mid.
Where did they come from? All of a sudden, Walk It Off has 4 members of their team in the middle lane. Here comes the minion wave, instantly cleared, but they still have the ROM on the tower, chunking it down. Heroes and Zeros trying the best that they can on defense, but they know that the 500 gold for this tier 1 isn't worth it, instead opting to defend the second tier tower. Good call by playing it safe.
But now what they're going to see is more wards need to be put out by Heroes and Zeros. The map positioning is going to have to be more correct overall, because they're not going to have those towers to fall back to, and those minions are going to push deeper into enemy territory, giving Walk It Off more vision of what's going on their side of the map. And right now you can see 2 members of Walk It Off rotating. Right, Moex is here with Aphrodite in that link up. I do not want to see that often. Thank you very much.
Definitely a scary one right here. Rom, the Manaless God right here with the blue buff. Gonna let him be so offensive with the steroid and the roll. Solana keeping him alive way more than he should be. Gonna go ahead and back. We take a look at the builds right here. Moex going with the double stacking build that's risen to fame in the past week and a half very quickly. Meanwhile, Vastrakel going a very old build, building that Draining Blade. He's started to build into Boots Hinderman, so it looks like he's gonna stick with the Draining Blade. Must not have gotten the memo.
I'm not sure if he did. I mean, maybe he knows something we don't. We'll have to see as this one plays out. But at the moment, I guess he wants more mobility overall, which is what the combat boots will give him, as well as a little bit more power. But he needs some more lifesteal online, and this is why he's losing this big trade overall against Moex. The amount of damage Moex is doing, and the amount of sustain he's got with those death gloves are just making too much of an influence in this Hunter duel that happens every now and again.
And we take a look, Enigma getting a lot of damage pressured onto him. A couple of bombs from
wow.
Agni, and Moex gets the last hit. Enigma completely eliminated. Arniking getting a lot of damage as well right now with that link up of Agni and Aphrodite, and they're going to progress onto the Gold Fury. But here comes Vastrical on the Apollo Chariot, looking for the dunk. Gonna wait a bit, gets the land in. Now they've tried to reset the Gold Fury, but hi-rez are just eliminating the support.
Darza comes down with the Thorult, looking for damage, not going to find it as Moex cleans him up, and now they're looking for King on that Raw. The Brutalize is real, and Moex cleans up that kill as well, and that's going to be a tier 2 tower, because look at where the minions are positioned right now. They're already pushed in. Walk it off, have three members of the enemy team dead right now. They can assault this. I mean, you've got an Aphrodite, you link up with Frezzy and let him tank up, he can heal for days.
This is undoubtedly going to be that tower, Hindu Man, and you know, a lot of this is Darzer being completely out of this game. 0, 4, and 1 at the moment. You take a look at the enemy jungler on the opposite end, level 14. Almost double the level of his opponent jungler. 8, 1, and 4 is the slash line for hi-rez. Having a fantastic game at the moment. Building second item, Shifter Shield. So he wants to be a little front line for his team, and it's working out very well. And Walk It Off is taking away the entire jungle from Heroes and Zeros, just pushing Darzer further behind.
I mean, Shifter Shield is a very good item, but it's very expensive, and that's one of the reasons you don't see it as often, F-Dot. But I guess when you're ahead in builds like hi-rez is, he can go in deep, go aggressive, get the damage off, and then when he starts to get low, get those extra defenses from it. They're going to pay dividends for him to be able to try and get out again, or allow, you know, the likes of Solana to be able to link up with him and heal him back up to full health once more. It's not a bad item, it's just one we don't see that often.
Yeah, normally we see a lot more power, or sometimes we see a lot of CDR coming out on Fenrir's, as he is very ability-based. Zinder likes to build him basic attack-based, and Wolfie tends to go a little bit crit. So there's different ways of building Fenrir. hi-rez is going for the front line right now. We see him building that Shifter Shield, looking towards the Titan's Bane, it looks like. So that'll be some penetration for him. Curious build, but right now, not ours to question. 8, 1, and 4, as we mentioned, and 15 minutes in, we see a 5-figure lead for Walk It Off. 11,500 gold on the wayside of that, 18,000 experience, and they're about to seize this left-hand lane. Maybe they'll even go for a Phoenix, Hindu Man.
Well, more gold on the line available for them right now. The whole team of heroes trying to collapse round, and you can see Walk It Off in position with a full minion wave. Have to clear this one quickly. Celestial Beam going to do good work at that, but the link up from Solana will provide dividends. Meanwhile, Rafa finds Darzer in the jungle and eats him alive before he can even take to the sky. And now it's a 4v5, and the heroes and zeros have to back away, knowing they don't have the presence of their jungler with them once again. Rafa made a big play, and now Frezzy goes in.
Enigma getting hit from the artillery strikes. Rapper gets the kill, and Solana gets the kill onto the support. Vastrical trying to dive bomb this team again. Opting to go down, does get the kill onto Frezzy, but now he's stuck up a creek without a paddle, taking a lot of damage. It's Vastrical. He's going to go down in front of the Phoenix. One more time, Darzer up in the air. He's level 9. He's going to miss all the stuns, take a hit, and the F6 is out. Heroes and Zeros succumb to the deficit, and Walk It Off walks away with the win. 16 minutes in, that they're going to take away game 1. This is a best of 3 though, folks. Heroes and Zeros have game 2 to extend this series.
I mean, Walk It Off, if you look at how well they played this game, honestly, after right from the outset, they put aggression pedal to the metal, so to speak, and they really put the pressure on as much as possible and made sure that it was really tough for them to get back in. Poor Darza just didn't have a leg to stand on for the whole of that game. They just kept applying pressure to him over and over again.
Yeah. Just Vastrical did not have a good game. He did not have a good game, folks. The Aussie was built very curious there. Aussie in general is a bad item. It's cheap and inexpensive, but the passive doesn't really get used. Passive increases your lifesteal by an insignificant amount underneath 35% HP. If you're underneath 35% HP, you're probably going to die anyway. It's an interesting pickup if you're reaching for the attack speed, but all in all, you really don't get your money's worth out of it. On the other hand, Ram, played by Moex, 5-0-7 slash line, and the build doesn't lie. Double stacking build built into pen boots. The reason that some builds are standard and some aren't.
And once again, you know, this lineup of Walk It Off is new off the blocks. They've had the addition of Rafa. They used to be known as Bloody Tech, but now Rafa is here, formerly a member of I5. And you can see he's working his way into this roster nicely and seems to be, you know, combining well, because it's quite difficult for a jungler to come into a new team and get the communication down with the solo laner and the mid laner more than often than not, because they're the ones he's going to be talking to and ganking for most of the time.
Right. I really did like the pickup of Shifter Shield's second item for Fenrir. It allowed him to stay in the fights, be relevant even more so than he already forced himself to be. He was one of the 3 deaths on the side of his team. His team only had 3 deaths. Aphrodite, Fenrir, and Geb all died once, but 10 kills and 6 assists is really the story that you want to take home from this.
Definitely as a jungler, getting the most kills on your team and doing really, really well. I mean, fantastic play from the whole team overall, and they're looking good for the possibility of going to the pro spot now. I mean, when you look at how all the teams have performed today, Walk It Off's probably the one that you can say looks like they will make the pro scene. I mean, I'm not going to guarantee it because I'll curse people, but, you know.
Here's the Zeros played really well coming up into this match. They did make it. There was a very close match between them and Exposed Secrets, and due to an unfortunate set of circumstances, that game was cut off short. So they are in the finals under curious circumstances. Walk It Off is definitely one of the stronger teams. I don't want to say that Heroes and Zeros didn't earn their victories. They definitely did. But Walk It Off have played each match to the end and have earned each lead that they've had. So we're being pulled into picks and bans at the moment, and it looks like Kumbhakarna and Aphrodite are already off the table.
Aphrodite taken out immediately. Now, one thing I want to say about this game overall is what I feel about this Kumbhakarna ban. Now, we've not seen much Kumbhakarna all day. I don't think the Kumbhakarna ban means anything. Honestly, nope. I think Kumbhakarna is there just as a whatever. They could have banned Arachne there, technically. That's what they were doing with this ban. They want to make sure that they're leaving something on the table for themselves to be able to take F-Dot, and that's exactly what they did. And managed to get Aphrodite for the trouble in my eyes, but they mainly focused on Rom, it seems. They really want Rom. Moex wants Rom 10 times out of 10. Wherever possible, he's going to pick that one up. But now that forces an Aphrodite ban and a Mercury, which leaves other things on the table once again for Walk It Off to look at. But Heroes and Zeros have things up their sleeves too. Wonder what they're going to go with.
Rom is definitely a strong character in and of itself, but it's a character that I've said many times is an amplification character. He's good, but he's only good if you're good with that particular playstyle. It seems like a very duh statement, Hinderman, but you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. His entire kit is based around basic attacks.
Yeah, I mean, with Rom, you're saying, yeah?
Yeah,
I mean, with Rom, everything he has is basic attack focus. So if you can't land basic attacks, you can't judge the position that people are going to move to and predict where their pathing's going to be. You're going to have a hard time with him. The likes of Neath, the likes of Anher, they do have other abilities in their kit that allow them to get damage off from other means. However, if you can't land basic auto attacks, Rom is not going to be the god for you, and it's quite difficult.
On the other side, Ra and Hebo. Leash. Habwa being very popular recently.
What to say?
So much burst. 2 mages picked out for Heroes and Zeros, so solo and middle lane should be taken care of. Both of these characters are traditionally these days seen in the solo lane and can mid. I'm curious who they'll send mid. I'm going to predict Habwa.
I'm interested by the Thor pickup by Walk It Off here. Why would you take Thor? Like, Dawes didn't have a good game on Thor. Let's be honest. He didn't have a good game on Thor. Why not let him play it again and just rinse repeat? That's what my mind would be thinking right now, is the fact that Dawes didn't play it well. Why would I take it away from him? Let him play it. Go for it. It's not a problem.
I agree with that 100%. I think that's a good choice. Hunbats, on the other hand, comes out and I speak about Hunbats every time he's picked. Hunbats is life. Hunbats is love. Hunbats is Bay. He's just so incredibly powerful. Always relevant. Always relevant. Fear no evil can mess up a team fight from level 5 to level 20.
And once again, we're going to see the same sort of counter ban coming out from Walk It Off. Going to ban away Artemis again, but this time we're going to see Vasterkal going to be going for Anher instead of picking up the Apollo that he picked last time in this matchup. And we also see the Jonquil ban once again. That makes perfect sense, you know. Take it away, make sure. And with Aphrodite off the table, then we're going to have to see what Solana's going to take to the solo lane right now. What will they be picking? Well, at the moment, they're hovering Najah.
Najah is a curious pick. Walk It Off is 1 game up, and this is where we usually see players do interesting things. Najah support would be it. Well, we have a Geb picked already. We've seen Najah mid a couple of times. Ankile makes
Ice.
it a very attractive choice to pick up, but we are going to see the far more traditional Isis and Vulcan picked up. I'm very happy to see the Vulking so prominent in our UO Pro League.
Well, the weather's getting a bit worse over here, as you can see right now, but at the moment we're going to go into the last pick for Heroes and Zeros, and maybe they can warm up my day with something interesting on the table. I mean, hopefully we can see something that's going to be unusual, something with sunshine involved. Well, they've left Athena. Athena was last pick. Wow.
It's very curious.
Wow.
Very curious how EU works. We've seen characters go from first pick, first ban, must pick, must ban to not even picked at all.
Not even picked at all. And the reason we say that is because it's just come through that they locked in Bacchus. They've gone for the alcohol in this situation to try and push them forwards to victory. And to be fair, I must say, you know when you've had a drink or two and things seem to just line up perfectly and get a bit better. You think you're in the zone. Yeah, you hit that perfect zone. And I guess that's what Heroes and Zeros are looking for with this Bacchus pick. Just trying to hit that zone finally, find the stride again.
Don't let him into his zone. Don't let him into his zone. Heroes and Zeros going to round out, as we said, with the Bacchus pickup. This is looking like a great team. You have Ra for sustain, Habois and Darzer on the monkey can do a lot of damage, and Vastrical played on her very, very well. On her is one of those hunter picks that we don't see frequently, but when he gets picked by somebody that's very comfortable on that character. And with the Artemis ban, Vastrical picks up his on her, and I expect to see a good show from the on her in this game.
Yeah, we should see this one going off against, so Walk It Off going to be facing off against Heroes and Zeros. Game 2 of this final this week of the EU play-ins. These two teams guaranteed to play in the next 2 weeks. They're playing for prize money here and to feel each other out, so to speak, to see where the strengths and weaknesses lie. And already the aggression seems to be on the side of Walk It Off. They seem to be figuring things out a bit quicker than Heroes and Zeros, but we'll be right back, guys, as soon as these guys have loaded in. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the final of this EU Playing Cup Week 1. In the final today, we've already seen them both walk it off versus Heroes and Zeros. Walk it off with a 1-0 lead. Walk it off going to be fighting from the bottom side of your map. Left-hand side of your spectator UI is going to be played by Clueless Fruzzy, playing Gab. Fexes in mid as Isis. Solana in the solo lane as Vulcan. Clueless Moex playing Ram as the Hunter, and Irafa in the jungle as Thor. What have we got on the other side? After
the other side, we've got Arna King on Habois. We talked about that burst damage, and he is going to be in the solo lane, which means Enigma will be in the mid on that Ra. Something that we don't see too often, but he's definitely a more than capable middle laner. Darza will be in the jungle, monkeying around on Hun Bats, while El Cito and Vastrical reprise their roles in the duo lane on Bacchus and on her.
Now, I've not seen much competitive play of the Vulcan versus Habois matchup, I'll be honest. In that matchup overall, who generally wins? I want to say Vulcan would, because he's got a little bit more range over Habois. Because Habois going to get in there to really trade. He can use those meatballs. Am I right in saying that after?
Yeah, if Vulcan plays it well, he can use the turret to space out and spam meatballs, keeping Habois away from the wave, and not really enabling him to really use water cannon on the creeps as he'd like to. Fexa is already coming out with the Isis play. Isis is such a fun god to watch.
Oh, she's so good.
So many abilities to be used in so many different ways.
Yeah.
She's such an open-ended god.
I agree. I feel she's very high skill cap overall, honestly. Like, the amount of things you can do with her and the plays you can make and survivability she's got is fantastic. And her kit seems so all over the place, but combines so well together. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play her. And also, at the end of the day, a lot of mages... An Agni that's not doing damage really doesn't do much. You have the stun. That's about it. An Isis, should you get behind, you still have tons of control. You've got a silence, a stun. A silence is also a slow. And your ultimate, just so good for securing objectives. And Fexa is right now not planning on getting behind. Those abilities can do a great deal when they're ahead as well.
Yeah, pushing Ra into tower as often as possible at the start of this game, going to give him a small lead because the Celestial Beam not going to be enough to clear them out. The Blessing will help, though, and try to bring them down and make sure he absorbs some of that gold from that wave overall as Fexes continues to harass. Junglers have rotated again, once again, Rafa goes aggressive. So aggressive for him to just go into the enemy jungle, so brave as well, and just steal away camps.
Tarzan goes and tries to find his backhands. Nothing to be found right there. On the left side, walking off to try and take the others. Geb locked out by himself. 3 members of Heroes and Zeros are here, while Moex tried to provide a little bit of poke. The rest of the team is here, and walking off provided reinforcements of their own. Heroes and Zeros are trying to back off right now.
Well, El Seto doesn't have any mana left on that Bacchus, and that's one of the biggest issues you get from playing a Bacchus. But Frezzy gets cut out of position as Darza goes aggressive. Celestial Beam not going to connect, but the auto attack from Vastorkal will, and that's first blood to Heroes and Zeros, and it's good from them because that was a rinse repeat almost of what Walk It Off tried to do last game and succeeded at.
Yeah, you know, it's really curious right there. Walk It Off had gotten out of that situation, no problem. They got out and they disengaged, and Frenzy turned around and tried to get back in there. But right now in the middle lane, a lot of damage onto Durzer. The ultimate and the basic. Fexes goes ahead.
Just the basic. Like, he had Wing Gust available there, and I meant, I'm just going to save that mana. It's like, I'll just attack you to death with my wings. There you go, take that one. Really nice pick up for Fexes. He did just hit 5 at exactly the same time as that gank initiated, though. Worst timing as a jungler ever for yourself. I mean, have you ever done that as a jungler? I have. You've gone in, gone, oh no, he's 5.
Super important for that kill to come out over there as well. It's going to keep the game in check. 400 gold in the lead for Walk It Off, which basically means nothing, along with 1,000 in experience. So doing very well and responding is exactly how they should. Right camps go to Heroes, left camps go to Walk It Off.
At the moment, 1-1, experience and gold, small lead, both in favor of Walk It Off, but still early, too early to tell, really, who's going to come out on top of this one. We do know Walk It Off did win game 1. Thor goes to the sky looking for something. What's he looking for? That's the question. They're going to go deep on left.
Vastorkal taking a lot of damage, gonna jump backwards, but the Ram ult is still in range, gonna miss 2 out of 3, so no harm, no foul for Vastorkal. We take a look at the middle lane. El Seto getting chunked down by Fexes, but still above 50% HP and very willing to fight.
El Seto a little bit behind in terms of experience. Someone that's down to Frezzy stealing away the back camps all the time, as we see on the screen, doing it again in the enemy jungle of Heroes and Zeros. And this is their game plan, is to deny Darza as much farm as possible in the jungle and put Irafa ahead, and they're doing it over and over again. But Frezzy gets caught out.
A lot of damage coming out onto Frezzy. Could be another death for the support right here, but a great ultimate coming out from Fexa is going to lower the damage that Frezzy takes. Also deter Heroes and Zeros, as they don't want to take the damage that the level 7 Isis is dishing out. But as we said, it's more about the defenses. It reduces the amount of damage you take, and that's what saved Frezzy's life by itself.
So looking at the Hunters right now, over on this left-hand side, we're going to see that we've got Heartseeker Rush from Moex once again. Meanwhile, Vastrakal's gone for the Devourer's Gauntlet start this time. And on that trip back, he's going to have enough to finish them off. So they're both going to be stacking right now, but going down different build paths.
Going down different build paths for sure. Moex again going to go ahead and build that Heartseeker. Vastrakal going Devo gloves this time around. Guess he got the memo in between matches that Draining Blade Heartseeker isn't the way to go. Expect the double stacking build out from Moex for a second time. We do see that Blink come out on Frezzy, so a lot of surprise initiations should come by way of that gap.
Yeah, we'll see if Geb can continue doing that, because at the moment he's currently focusing on counter jungle as much as possible on Darza every single time that back camps up in the top left-hand corner. He's been taking that one away, so expect to see him roll around there one more time if he gets the opportunity to. For now, though, going to help out Moex with the blue buff, soak up some experience in lane as well. And the one thing about these two Hunter builds right now is that one's going to have more sustain in Vastrakal. However, as the game goes on, Moex is going to do a lot more damage just off those two items alone.
Stacking damage coming out from Heartseeker's big. Fex says, try to throw the ball for the stun way behind the tower, but Enigma's right here, catches him with the Celestial Beam.
Hey, where's Frezzy? Where's Frezzy?
In the back, looking for back Harpies.
Again? They're like his personal harpies. That's what he's trying to say. He's like, guys, he's a mine. I'm going to take him every time. But this time, he's been caught out. And body blocks are huge from Enigma. Forcing out the ultimate, and that's a great pillar. And now they're looking for the kill, and Frezzy's going to pay with his life. That's what you get for stealing harpies, they say. But Dawes is getting very low as well. The snipe's not going to connect. Now Fexes is in trouble too. The over-aggression from Walk It Off did not pay off. And
There's a good choice. There's a good choice coming out from Geb to try and go for that. Unfortunately, after you see that you didn't get it, it was poor for Fexes to keep going. Ultimately traded his life for nothing at all. So that's going to be a 2-for-0 trade going the way of Heroes and Zeros, now leading the game by 2 kills, but still trailing in an insignificant amount of golden experience. Game is tied for all intents and purposes, folks, as we see the second split of mids go to both teams.
You say All balanced out between these two teams right now overall. Heartseeker online for hi-rez in the jungle as well now. Meanwhile, Humbats at the moment has just rushed his boots, so got his Warrior Tabby online now for that extra penetration and mobility that's going to bring him to the table, be able to jump in and out. Still 2 levels behind hi-rez once again, though, and that's going to be an issue. But left-hand side, Anher has to leap away as he gets hit by a rollout from behind by Frezzy, but fine for now.
Vastrical playing very safe. He's 2-0-1, doesn't really want to change that up, so he's going to be playing that safe card, using his jump very early in engagements to make sure he doesn't get hit. Darz are going to get his red buff. What little bit of the jungle he can get, he's going to go for. We see 3 members of Heroes and Zeros on this side of the map. Walking off is pushing this middle lane, and they can definitely get punished for it.
Elseto looking for an opportunity to try and jump on Fexes, but Frezzy in the area, there's a good silence. And a stun onto Enigma, but no follow-up damage coming out. Meanwhile, Herbois in trouble on this side as the throw comes down, not going to connect. Neither is the wall, but the backfire does connect, and that's going to do a lot of damage, forcing the crushing wave, and that ultimate's not going to land the Earthshaker, fighting in the wrong direction, but the backfire did, and that's going to force On King back.
In the middle lane, Darzer picks up Fexes with 3 members of Heroes to only 2 of Walk It Off, forcing the kill. Really forced that underneath the tower. So good pickup from Heroes and Zeros to go ahead and pick that up. Rom gonna ult from the jungle, try and get the scraps of the battle. Not able to land shots efficiently. So Enigma's gonna heal up and actually stay in lane after taking about 60% of his HP.
Yeah, 60% of his HP. But one thing to note as well is that even though the kill differential, there's a lot of quick pickups for Heroes and Zeros there, I thought. Golden experience is still even. That just shows how well Walk It Off we're farming overall, honestly, and making the impact and being able to stay in this game. Even though they're behind in kills, they've not given any objectives really, and they're actually, even in Golden XP.
Delano leading this game with, or leading his team rather, Vastrical being the champion leading the game with just hitting 5,000 gold overall. Solana leading with 4,800 for his team. That of course is the solo lane Vulcan, who's doing rather well. Got no kills but no deaths either, and that's the important part. Him, 2 other members of his team are sporting 000 slash lines, while the other 2 members have died twice themselves. Walk It Off only have 1 kill for their entire team.
Well, Darza going aggressive onto Fex as it was rotating around to deal with him. As he used the circle protection, snipe gun not going to connect. Big shield from Frezzy, and the knock-up's going to delay it a bit more, but the jump from the monkey. But the body blocks were real, but Celestial Beam going to make sure that secures it, and there's the alcohol intoxication. As Thordug's down with Rafford looking for Darza. Can he find him with the hammer? He finds the first hit. Oh, attacks enough. Fear no evil comes out. The bird's going to connect from Elsastro. But what can he really do as the wall's there? They're still trying to fight this one, but Walk It Off look good. But look who's here. Hubwar's on his way.
Good knockup from Hubwar, going to disrupt this entire fight right now. El Cito very low, along with his teammate. Melx goes into the sky, takes them down, puts them in the ground. Vastrical makes Frezzy pay for that, and hi-rez are slowly getting mid-camps while Solana runs away for his life. Arna King very low. hi-rez can make him pay. There it is. hi-rez gets the hit with the hammer.
Big wall coming out from hi-rez, and now he's looking for more. He's looking at the enemy jungle again, trying to steal something away. And this is Walk It Off, trying to play objective games. He's going to find the blue buff available for him. Meanwhile, mid lane, Solana and Vastrical trading off. But as this game goes on, it looks like they're all looking. Heroes and Zeros seem to be looking at Vastrical here, this game F dot, to try and carry this for him. He's 3-0-1 right now. He's gone for the double stacking. He's most gold, most player damage, and the most kills in his team. They're really going to have to rely on him.
Yeah, Vastrical is going to try to really do work. Fexes was looking very good for his team on the other side of the scoreboard. However, with the past couple of engagements, he's died 3 times now. Got great kill in the beginning of the game, but hasn't been the case thus far. Kind of the opposite of what Vastrical's doing. And El Cito, we saw so much of an impact on Athena when he was playing him. Bach is much different play style, and 1 and 5, not bad, but not the same impact that we saw coming out. Not exactly the hedge that we saw in game 1.
11 minutes in now, and the Gold Fury is available online for these 2 teams, but the Christmas tree lights of wards on the map right now is just lighting up and giving vision for everybody. So everybody trying to rotate around is going to be spotted out immediately. Frezzy though going aggressive and tries to uses the blink onto Vastrical, but Vastrical immediately leaps away, belly flop from Elsastro just to get back into tower range for the most part as the aggression subsides in the duo lane. But they're turning their attention towards the Gold Fury here. It looks like a Walk It Off.
Moex does a lot of damage right now, and with the Heartseeker online, really able to provide a lot of damage on the objectives. However, not enough where they can take it out in front of the enemy team. So they smartly decline, and Heroes and Zeros check it out and also walk away from the situation, understanding that there's nothing to fight over and that they probably can't get Gold Fury either.
Well, Arn King did rotate all the way over and is going to force Fexes back. He's dropped rather low after that mini skirmish there. So you can see Walk It Off not going to try and engage the Gold Fury for now. Between the two supports of all things, Alesto is level 9. On the other side of that, Frezzy level 8. So even though Frezzy got an early lead, he's kind of paid the price with all his rotations over. And it looks like he's going for a very fast Witchblade this game by the looks of it.
Witchblade is a great pickup. It's going to provide some defense for him. It's also going to provide some offense a little bit, but it's really purchased for the defense. Hindu Man, we're going to see Vastrigal be less effective, and Darzer, it's mainly just for Vastrigal, to be frank. It'll lower his physical damage, lower the attack speed as well. And Vastrigal, as we talked about, in the lead, 6,400 gold, while the rest of his team is under that 6,000 mark. He's going to be the one to carry, so he's going to be the one to build against.
Midcamp's coming up on the left-hand side as the Hunters duel it out, and Vastrical forcing Moex away from the minion wave. He's still going aggressive. Vastrical's so aggressive this round. Look at the rotation coming from Frezzy, immediately realizing the threat. But that's going to force the midcamps to become an aggressive point as Vexus is in trouble and going to drop down to the Fear No Evil.
Death 4 for Fexes, looking very powerful last game, very powerful at the beginning of this game, just not on it. He's just getting caught out, Hindu Man. Heroes and Zeros understand that Fexes is the power to be reckoned with, and they're making their presence known.
Left. Going to see the ultimates coming out from both the Hunters. The leap away from the Cataclysm was good. Duke's one snipe gets hit by the second. The third's not going to kill out. The rollout's going to force him further away. But going back to that fight that we saw, the mid-harpies there, overall after that was created by Vastrical. Honestly, he managed to, force a fight and force Frezzy away from that mid-camps that left Fexes open. But in the meantime, while this was all going on, in the solo lane, we did see Solana did take down that tower, so he's going to be able to rotate a little bit more often than not. And I'm interested to see whether Arn King's decision there to do more rotations and just give up trying to farm against his Vulcan is going to be the correct one as this one plays out.
Well, right now he's behind in farm. He has no tower to his name. At the moment, it's looking like the wrong decision. He really didn't make a huge impact in really saving the team. They killed it. They shut down Fexes a lot. Checking in on the mid lane, we see Fexes level 12, while his enemy middle laner Enigma is level 14. So that's going to be 2.5 levels about in the lead for that. So they did shut down Fexes for the moment, but that tower's down forever.
Well, back to the dual lane again. You can see the two Hunters just farming down minions. I'm keeping an eye on Vastrical all the time now because he's going so aggressive like he is now. The pillar's gone down. Looking to put the poke on. Knows Frezzy's rotating around, so we'll back away. But Vastrical's really trying to lead this team with his decision making, with his aggression coming out this game. He must be upset.
Definitely a little bit upset. Isis has rotated into the solo lane, so we see Isis versus Habwa at the moment. Silence is going to miss, going to get hit by the knockup. This is a very important change since the recent Isis patch, about a couple of patches ago. Isis is now immune to knockups during the wing gust. So now we don't see anything coming out from the wing. We don't see the Habwa completely neuter Isis like we usually do. So Fexes actually has an interesting matchup. It's just the ability of him to actually work around that. So we'll see a lot of knockups come out preemptively. Taking a look towards the middle lane, there's a lot of damage as well. We're going to go ahead and look, and the red team Heroes at Zero is going to aggress onto the Gold Fury right here. Here comes the rest of Walk It Off to try and play defense. Looks like a bait, though, Hindu Man. This is something that we see a lot of good teams do. They're going to walk away, so to return to passivity, but I like this play. It's fun to see teams do interesting strategies.
Yeah, trying to do interesting, different things to keep themselves going as time goes on. And basically, this is the right opportunity to try and do that, though, F. Right? I mean, try and do it during these games that don't matter too much. You get a feel for the other team.
Exactly. Darzer actually going to get picked out, barely getting away. Frezzy probably going to pick this up, does so with the rollout. A lot of violence happening in this left-hand lane, folks. Vastrical taking a lot of damage, but El Santo, the target for the blue team. Walking Off sends an ultimate and doesn't hit anybody, and El Santo just walking around, not doing much of anything. Arn King the opposite, gets a kill with the ultimate and quickly pays for it by Frezzy. El Santo and everybody else on Heroes and Zeros retreating as 4 members of Walk It Off are right here, and Heroes and Zeros, not much left to their name.
Yeah, not much left to the name at all, so Walk It Off going to get a little bit of a lead out of that F. They're going to be able to look for objectives, though.
Walk It Off heading towards the Gold Fury. They do have 4 members, one of which is rather low, so we do have to deal with that. Heroes and Zeros try to come get it, and they get the gold. Walk It Off is. So Heroes and Zeros going to take a lot of damage. Moex over here getting janked down by Vastrical. 1 knockup, and one hit. Vastrigal gets the kill onto Moex after the Gold Fury. That's going to bring the lead back down just a little bit. We're approaching the 17-minute mark right here, and Darzer getting poked out by Magma Bomb as we see both teams return to normalcy.
Apologies for the delay in my commentary, guys. I'm just having a few issues with my spectator client that we sorted sooner rather than later. I'm just catching up. What time are you on right now, F-Dot?
We're about 17 minutes into this match. We're seeing Walk It Off go towards the right-hand side. Those right-hand Harpies are actually already dead, so nothing to be seen over there. We're looking at just normalcy over here. Nothing really going on after all that violence. I think teams want to sort of wait it out. 17 and a half minutes exactly is the time mark. And El Sato getting the burp on Fexes, but a good beads, making sure he's not stunned out.
As it stands in this game, these are two of the teams, guys, that are going to be facing off against each other in the next 2 weeks as well, during the play-ins, to give themselves an opportunity to go to the Pro League. And right now, they're both looking pretty good for it, F-Dot.
Definitely looking pretty good as we're about to hit 18 minutes, 17:58 at the moment, so we're approaching it very soon. And Solana and Frezzy sitting here in the middle lane trying to provide some defense, but Enigma not able to do much, and they're just going to walk away.
Yeah, I'm currently at 8 minutes in the game. I'm getting there slowly but surely. We'll get there eventually, F-Dot. We'll get there eventually.
Shot in the middle from El Sato. Gonna be stunned out. Here comes Frezzy with a good blink, trying to make something happen. Bad ultimate coming out from Vulcan, but good damage out from Thor. And that's something that's gonna be a necessary retreat. A lot of damage more. Fexes gets the kill out of Darzer, and 3 members of Heroes of Zero stuck underneath their tower. With the recent loss of their jungler, Hinduman, 4 members of Walk It Off going to aggress onto this tower. Heroes of Zeros do want to play defense, so here they go. Good stun out from Thor, gets the double tap. El Sato and Enigma, not too much they could do. While in the long lane, Vastrigal gets the kill onto Moex, all by his lonesome, forcing the rotation.
Yeah, Walk It Off is just starting to turn up the heat now onto Heroes and Zeros. It's starting to become a big issue for them.
Yeah, definitely starting to become a big issue. Iraffer get hits by the knockup. No follow-up from Arn King, so that's going to be that. But Vastrigal, so deep in enemy territory, finds a place to silently back. He's behind the enemy towers, folks. Backed in the wrong neighborhood. Very safe. Gets home. Then we just see some jockeying for position in the middle lane, but no real aggression.
No real aggression. To both size each other up, so to speak, and just wait for the right opportunity to engage and see if one becomes available for both sides right now.
Gab rolling in here, trying to make something happen again in the middle lane. Walk It Off sitting ahead by about 1,000 gold. Nothing really huge, but trying to make it, really forcing these fights in the middle lane. And Heroes and Zeros not giving up an inch. Fexes and Frezzy waiting here by the middle camps, trying to grab something. Goes ahead and pick it up. El Sato not going to get that at all. So right-hand camps, though, going out Heroes and Zeros.
Go to Heroes and Zeros for now. So trying to find these small little advantages, trying to get themselves back in this one. The lead's still in favor of Walk It Off, though.
Yes, Walk It Off is still definitely leading very slightly. It's basically a tie game for all intents and purposes at the moment. Looking towards the long lane, Moex all by himself did send the Hunter back a while ago. So Vastrigal still leading this game in farm and experience, about 10,000. First member of the game to hit 5 figures. But we do see Iraffer coming into this long lane. Moex level 16, Dazer level 14. That's Dazer, not Iraffer. I just see the monkey and I think of Iraffer, quite frankly. Hoodbats historically played by Raffer. Sitting at about 20 minutes and 41 seconds, folks. Very nicely into this game. We're actually going to go ahead and pause the game just so we can get some technical difficulties finished out. A lot of situations. Sorry. Basically been solo casting for the past couple of minutes.
You did all right. You did okay. You did okay. I'm catching up slowly. I tried to help and fill with you after I was being a team player. I could have just left you on your own. But I was like, no, I'll just say generic terms.
No, you were working out. We were working out pretty well.
It's okay.
Didn't want to catch heat for stealing your spotlight.
Oh, stealing my spotlight? Please, after you can take my spotlight any day of the week, my friend. Any day of the week. My game just decided to my computer just blew up, basically. Went, nope, we're not going to do this anymore. I've had enough. And I'm like, great. Good luck, F-Dot. Have fun.
It's that UK heat.
I should be yeah, we're not used to the heat, you know. I'm from Manchester. It rains all the time, but it's so hot. I'm not used to it. It's not the way for me. Look at my pasty skin. I've never seen the sun. I'm not designed for the sun, guys. I'm sorry. So we've got a small pause at the moment at 2042. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome.
20 and 41 seconds is where we're at right now. As we were
Thank you,
talking
sir.
about how we're sitting, it's basically a tie game, folks. 600 gold lead for Walk It Off, which is basically nothing at all. Heroes and Zeros doing rather well. They were off to a poor start, and they're coming back in spades. So really fantastic work coming out from both teams right here.
I mean, if you look at the kills, I mean, with Golden Experience being the same, it does say to me that Walk It Off are technically farming better overall, obviously, but Heroes and Zeros are winning the trades in these fights that are going on throughout this game as it goes on. So if Walk It Off can continue to sort of continue the farming, but then start picking back at these, fights, so to speak, then they would be in the lead overall. However, if Heroes and Zeros can keep applying the pressure of these kills and take objectives, it'll definitely go in their favor as well.
Yeah. For sure. Both of these teams really are objectively minded. We're going to go ahead and get back into the game so we can get right back into the action. We have fixed those technical difficulties. And again, one more time, this is just on the wayside of the replay. Players themselves are not experiencing any difficulties, so
Just
the
me.
integrity of this match has not been touched.
It's just me having issues, because I am one big issue. That's the biggest issue. But we should be back into this one now, after. Oh, is that correct?
Yes. Should be back in. Going to hit the 21-minute mark. Right now we get a good silence in the middle lane. Damage out onto Darzer coming out from ISIS. Good damage, but all in all, no aggression for the kill. Teams rotating. They see the Gold Fury is going to be rezzing rather soon. So watching out for that. Are both teams, Heroes and Zeros, closer in the vicinity? Looking towards the rest of the teams, we take a look. Everything else is sort of copacetic, not really happening. Over by the blue buff is the solo lane, and Habois trying the best he can do in that solo lane all by himself. Guy's a single ward, but no far ward, so he has to farm safely on his own side of the map.
So look at the two hunters now. Moex is going to be sat here working towards his executioner. So is Vastricol, though. So very even between those two. However, look at the actives between those two hunters as well there. After you're going to see that the full actives are online for Vastricol as Frezzy rotates all the way around to clear out that ward over at the Gold Fury. The Gold Fury control is what's going to be important now for both these two teams. As you can see, the aggression coming out from Heroes and Zeros as they try and zone out and clear out the ward that's just been placed. We're going to have ward wars here after. Ward wars, my favourite type of wars. I never see him in solo queue.
All these teams jockeying for position around the Gold Fury. We have 4.5 members of Heroes and Zeros right here. 4 members right by the Gold Fury. Darzer dipped into the lane to pick up some farm. That's a half. Here we go, 5 members, whereas Walk It Off is a bit more spread out. They've shoved some people into the middle lane, trying to make this siege happen, and they've attracted the attention of the entirety of Team Heroes and Zeros. Heroes and Zeros are in a great position to make this fight.
Yeah, they are. They're clumped up as a team, but they've got to be careful about the amount of AoE damage that can come out, like that Spirit Ball that nearly hit Vastricol. Forcing his beads out, actually. And you can see immediately the spout comes out from Habois, and the Gust is going to do some good work, as is the Meatball. Mid-camp spawn, though, and now there's some aggression as Thor dunks down!
Thor's in the air, he falls down to the ground. Solana gets the kill with the ultimate, where iRaptor picks up Enigma on the other side. Rom's going to land after dishing out his damage in the ult, and a good Habois ult defensively gets him under his tower. But with the rest of Walk It Off here, that's going to be damage, and Arn King goes down for the count. Walk It Off picks up that middle tower, deciding if they want to keep going. They opt instead to go for that second tower and not Gold Fury, because with the amount of pressure they're putting out here, Hindu Man, 3 members of Heroes and Zeros still in the well, Hindu Man. This is a tower, Hindu Man.
Also looks like Back is going to drop down nearly 2. He has to belly flop away to get out of trouble there. They take down 2 towers. This is what I just talked about. If they could win a fight, they were very objective, focused, walking off, and they're doing a good job of that. They're going for the Phoenix here. This is a great call.
23 minutes into this game, we pick up the first Phoenix. Walk It Off walking back towards the left-hand side of the map, looking towards the Gold Fury, it looks like, but instead they're going to opt to walk on home. That's going to give them a big lead, 4,400 gold right now for Walk It Off, 5,700 experience as well. All of a sudden, a tie game catapulted into a victory by a single fight. That's the beauty of Smite Sports.
Yeah,
It?
exactly. Exactly. But it's like all sports in general. Like one little victory can turn into such a massive deficit between teams overall in any sort of gaming scenario. So, because the map changes completely after one of those.
Oh,
like
yeah.
one of the teams, gets a big lead, and then you're on the defense and not the offense, and the other team's on the offense and not the defense. And you can see that overall on the map. And now the Gold Fury is a prime target for the Walk It Off to take, and that's what they're going to do, because Moex tanking it up and doing a lot of damage to it already.
Yeah, about 15 to 20 minutes in, depending on the build, hunters are generally capable of soloing the Gold Fury, and that's sort of what Moex is doing. It's less of a team-oriented response to the Gold Fury and more. Moex was there, so was hi-rez, so they might as well, while Frezzy zones out El Seto, who does have vision and could just watch as it falls.
And now they're all going to rotate over to the Fire Giant and start clearing wards around there. We're going to see in the Fire Giant pit there is 2 wards down. Not too sure if they're sentries just yet, because our good friend Solano is going to be covering them up. I think they're just normal wards. But Thor's going to the sky here after. Where's he going to look for? It looks like he's going to be on King. He's going to be the focus. Hubwa's in trouble. Looking for the spin to win. Crushing wave defensively. But that's a big earth shaker that's not going to connect as the wall lands. The Aegis was important from on King. He's still alive though.
Arnking gonna make it out. Interesting situation, but here comes Hunbats. Drops the Fear No Evil totem. He's gonna pay for that one. Jumping out with 40% of his life intact. Hubwa gets killed by the Geb. Clueless Moex actually gets credit for that one. Great ultimate coming out from on her. That's what we were talking about. While Moex picks up El Seto in the back.
Oh,
Enigma
no.
on the last hair of his life. Moex taking this tower.
Moex.
Gonna go down to the Phoenix while hunting for the kill. Frezzy picks up Enigma.
Well, Rafa gets low to the last hit from the Phoenix. Now they're going to turn their attention to that Phoenix as Vastrakal gets hit by a Spirit Ball on the backside. The side's going to delay the wall, going to block him off, but not for long enough. Phoenix goes down, though. Are they going to look to end here, F-Dot?
Be very curious to end right here. Frezzy's going to go down to the Titan because of that aggression, just barely making it out alive. Everybody on Walk It Off is very low and be in their best interests, and they are going to fall back. They lost Moex in the shuffle. He went down to some crazy aggression. He was trying to kill the Enigma. He was trying to kill the Enigma. That is Enigma playing Ra. Ra was pillaring him behind the Phoenix. Ram ran out of arrows and just died to over-aggression. You can't blame them. Walk It Off, take away their second Phoenix, giving them 8,200 gold in the lead at the moment. 26 minutes in.
And now, only objective really left on the map is 2 towers of Phoenix and the Fire Giant, the biggest objective of them all, really, other than the Titan. So, will they rotate for the Fire Giant and go for this? I expect them to do so. They're going to probably bring wards over here right now. You're going to see Frezzy going to look to drop the sentries down and clear out this vision that the enemy team's got right now. And wait for the team to group up. Meanwhile, the other side of the map, Rafa going to be split, pushing the way to victory for his team. Look to try and put the pressure on that left-hand side tower. The only lane that's not lost a tower in this game just yet.
Thor definitely could have taken out this tower by himself.
Yeah,
Not
he could've.
exactly the split push champion or a hunter, but he's all by his lonesome. Heroes and zeros on the right side because they know that this situation is going to happen. The Fire Giant is inevitable. It's what you expect. Thor could have gotten that knowing that he should be over here for the fight.
Here we go.
Jumps in the air. Vastrakal caught him out, so they know that he's incoming. The blink is good from Frezzy. No Cataclysm just yet. Lands on Hubwa is hi-rez. Good artillery coming out, and Rob gets the kill onto Enigma. They're not fighting a 4v5.
Now they're fighting 45. Meatball goes over, chasing Vastrakal away. Frezzy's on the front line, just chasing down Hubwa. That seems to be the focus, but meanwhile, El Sato is starting to drop very low as Vastrakal gets slowed down again. That Witchblade making dividends to make sure he can't get off a lot of attacks. Phoenix spawns in middle, though. Hubwa lands a spout on the other side. Fear No Evil comes up, and it's a defensive one overall as Darza disengages again, but Moex still diving for kills and on King on the backside. Will he find it? Well, he gets back to the well for now, but middle Phoenix drops once more. It looks like Walk It Off might win here this week. Are they going to be able to finish this one now?
Good ultimate coming out from Arn King. This is a really important siege for Heroes and Zeros to defend against. El Santo gonna go down to Solana. Moex takes down Arn King. It's now 2v5. Darzer's gonna die as well. Make that 4. Vatrikal's still alive. They're hunting for the kill, Hindu Man.
They're going for
very,
kills.
very BM on the side of hi-rez. Need to focus the Titan. It falls! And Walk It Off is your victors. They take first place overall in your SPL play-in.
Yeah, the play-ins were concluded right now. We now have the 4 teams that will be playing in the next 2 play-ins over the next couple of weeks. It will be Heroes and Zeros, Expo Secrets, Agilitas, and Walk It Off. Walk It Off, this week's victors, formerly known as Bloody Tech, now Walk It Off with the addition of hi-rez. And these teams looking good. I honestly, when you look at all four of them, do you have favourites who you think are going to make the Pro League, F. Do you have favourites?
You know, I did before this matchup today. I definitely had favorites. I definitely knew who I assumed was going to make it. After we saw Heroes and Zeros make it into the finals and the third place matchup between Exposed Secrets, I don't know what to think anymore. Europe, even when Europe keeps us guessing when we think they're done keeping us guessing.
Yep. I mean, we can never guarantee anything on EU, unfortunately. So eventually, out of these 20 players, 10 of them will become pros representing EU, and the other 10 will drop down to the Challenger division to join the likes of i5, who will be fighting week in, week out for a chance to get themselves into the Pro League this year at some point. But we'll see how those go on. But overall, this was pretty much the conclusion of EU. After you got any final thoughts? Final thoughts.
My final thoughts on EU. Thank you for providing us so much insane content. Every time we've gone in thinking something, it just hasn't happened, and Adonis can finally be correct because he comes out with the weird guesses that are always incorrect. But in Europe, what's right is wrong and what's left is right.
Well, some of us driving the other side of the road, that's why. But anyway, have a wonderful time. I'm glad you really all enjoyed and stuck with us through the broadcast today. I'm sorry for the technical issues we had. They happen, guys, they happen. But this is EU, and this is where the dreams are made and realities are realized for a lot of these teams. And we'll be back again. Next weekend is going to be a big one. It's going to be the LAN in Cologne for the 4 top teams that have already qualified for the Pro League. They're going to be in Cologne at the ESL studios. Bart's going to be joining me over in Cologne, and we're going to have some fun in Germany. See if we can find ourselves some lederhosen. Yeah. Anyway, but that's the end of the production. Thank you so much for all of you tuning in. From myself, from my co-caster F. As well as production, the likes of Blame Brad and Josh and Pecky Z. Have a fantastic afternoon or the rest of your day. We'll be back next week once again with more Smite Pro action.